live.
There you go. Yes, that's true.
He was all fine before we went live, and now we've gone live. His mic is.
We live?
While he's thinking about fixing that, and we're live. Let me go ahead and congratulate you for the one Ferrari win you're going to get this year.
Oh yes, I contemplated wearing my Ferrari hat up here. Yeah, it was.
The one race Verstappen has historically never been very good at.
Really. No, it's let's see who. Yeah, who was in second? It wasn't Fernando Alonso. What was it?
It was Lando
Norris. Yeah, Lando.
Yeah, it was Lando Norris.
Yeah. It was.
It was Lando. It was it Sainz, Lando, and Hamilton?
Correct. Well, because George Russell took the off ramp on the last corner.
Well, the funny thing is, Lando tapped the wall, and George was following him, and then he tapped the wall, but Lando held it, and George didn't. So, kind of sucked, but it's funny. But it was an interest. Everyone sounded so thrilled and excited to be commentating and watching a race that Red Bull was not in front of. So
yeah, it's certainly.
And that's your one. That's all. That's the only one you're getting this year. At the track, Red Bull is historically not that good at.
Ferrari, I think that's true. I think Red Bull will lose some more this season though.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure.
I don't think they're guaranteed every single win like they have earlier in the season.
No, but
because something happened to their car.
Yeah.
That is more than what they're letting on right now. So.
Yeah. But also it was I don't think anybody pointed out, or memories are short or whatever, but it is historically the track that Red Bull doesn't do very good at in Singapore. So is it really a surprise they lost at the track they don't do very well at?
Well, yes, to the degree that, given everything that they've been doing so far this season, would not lead anybody to believe that past season is indicative of what's going to happen this go around.
Sure.
So but yeah, it was at least nice to see that at the end of the day there were 4 potential winners battling it out on the last lap. So
that was nice, and they were all within DRS at the end. And I love the idea that Sainz and Norris had kind of worked it out, that they would partner up to keep Mercedes back long enough for them to win the race.
That's actually what I. It was interesting too. Because Sainz kept him in touch enough to keep all the rest at bay, right? So
yeah.
And in my mind,
in his best interest.
Hamilton probably had the best chance, but because he was all up in George's grill, but George wouldn't let him go by. So, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Congratulations! I thought I would mention that because we've kicked Ferrari a lot. So
it was all me. I had everything in the world to do with it. Ferrari.
Yes, congratulations.
Well, actually.
Leclerc did not help at all.
Performance. Certainly, there's a better chance that I had more to do with that win than Ferrari did to do with that win, given their past performance. I'm surprised they remembered where the wheels were, or tires, or whatever you want to call them. And that they were able to, that they remembered to change them this time, bring them with them when they were. The season has not been great. There's also who is it that got hosed on their 5-second? It was Alonso, wasn't it? It was Alonso, where then they also screwed up the jacks, and it wound up being like a 25 minute, might as well be 25 second stop.
Yeah,
not including the actual entrance and exits. Oh, I don't know what's going on with this PC. Well, Mac, not PC. All right, well, screw it. I'll just stop the recording.
Tim Apple, you need to look at that. Tim Apple.
Yeah, they're gonna look at it later. I think. I think. Which has now decided that he is Spanish. Is that what it is?
No.
Is that why you have the upside down exclamation mark?
That's interesting. It says of Earth Prime in Chrome, but it says it did say allegedly in Firefox. So I have no idea.
You have different settings.
Apparently.
Hey, let's talk Dragon Con. Oh, Rob's not here.
Yeah, let's. Oh God.
I didn't go.
We hadn't finished Secret Invasion. Secret Invasion hadn't finished last time we were here.
No.
I still have not watched it. It isn't a Struck show. We shouldn't talk about it. Actually, we shouldn't talk about anything. What are we going to talk about here? That's why we're talking about Ferrari. F1. Struck show. Those aren't Struck shows.
Yes.
I was like, I didn't know the movie was out yet.
Well, welcome to the Need Coffee podcast. It's the fashionable thing to do. Everyone's doing that now, so why don't we?
Yeah, John, I think that the best thing to do with Secret Invasion is, and I'm trying to find this for Cosette, is someone needs to make a Olivia Colman supercut of all of her bits and just watch that.
I mentioned that last time, actually.
Yeah, I just not bothered. I lost interest. I keep looking at it going, I should probably go back and finish, but I lost interest like episode 3.
You're good.
I was just like, ugh.
I think you're good. Yeah, well, if you said that last time, you're absolutely right. She was the best part of this, and my hope is that that she's like given MI-13 or whatever it is.
Yeah, I really hope that Amelia Clark isn't bad, but if we're gonna for them to continue to include Olivia Colman, we have to have the Amelia Clark character. So sure, she wasn't terrible, but you know, her character was given less to do but more powers. Weirdly,
well, so, I mean, you know, it wasn't written well.
No.
So you know, if it was well written, I'm sure Amelia Clark would be great because she's great when stuff is well written.
Yeah, she's great. Yeah. Oh, I didn't say that was on her. I just said, you know.
Oh yeah, I know.
I'm not sure where they're going with that character, but since that character is spoiler tied to Olivia Colman's character now, that means we kind of get both of them when they come back. So
I'm good with that.
Is it a Marvel's situation?
What do you mean, Marvels? Oh, Marvels, you mean?
Yeah, that they're joined by some psychic switch.
No.
It's an employee.
Whatever the new movie, it's called The Marvels, right?
Yes, it is.
Not like Meet the Marvels or anything like that.
No.
No.
Not a wacky 80s sitcom starring 3 different Marvels.
I'm actually looking forward to that. I'm hoping it's fun.
As my wife said, no one's going to see that film.
Really?
Her faith in humanity is shaken. Because there's too. It's all centered around lead women characters. So.
Oh well.
Yeah.
The toxic fanboys aren't going to go watch it, but they weren't going to go watch it anyway. So. I was
planning it. Oh wait. I mean, I'm not like I don't try.
No, but no, I want to go and see more of Iman Vellani reacting to things the way she and most people would in real life.
So you know she's writing the current Miss Marvel book, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I am kind of interested to take a look at that.
It's it's interesting. It's
Yeah.
part of the Fall of X thing, which has
Okay.
been nuts. Have you been reading it?
I know it in strokes. I haven't been reading it. I'm also in what is it? The Kim's got the Marvel subscription plan. So
the
we're
unlimited?
at that pace. Yeah, unlimited. So we're at
Gotcha.
that pace. So we're probably not there yet. We're probably at the end of Sinister, I think, probably.
Oh, Sinister was just insane. Sinister was like, it reminded me of Perdido Street Station.
Yeah.
That author. I have to look it up because it's gonna make me crazy. But that author just will throw out insane Chanamieville. There you go. He will throw out insane ideas, like 4 or 5 per page, that could be their own short story minimum. I mean, they're just stuff where you just go to, whoa, wait, go back. I want to know more about that. And it's fascinating.
Was that Gillen doing that?
If
Not
you
Gillen,
have not,
the Sinister
what's that?
thing. Was that
Hang
Gillen
on.
doing the Sinister thing?
Say again?
I think Gillen. Kieran Gillen.
Why can't I hear? Oh, there you are.
Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry, my sound went away for a second. I'm not sure why.
The voices in your head stopped briefly.
Yeah, it's true.
Tell me how you succeeded in doing that.
Well, I think
Well, I have noise
strong
canceling on these
medication.
headphones. That helps.
Self-awareness, meditation, and head trauma.
All right, cool.
Yep.
I'll get right on most of those things.
But yeah, Sinister's insane. So if you're like a little like, I'm not even sure what's happening, no one was, but it's okay.
Yeah, I kind of know what's going on with Fall of X in kind of the larger strokes.
It's interesting.
Okay.
I'm finding.
I actually want to read the Iron Man stuff, really. Funnily enough, I kind of want to read the Iron Man stuff.
Yeah. I just I really like what I've seen so far of Cap in this.
Yeah.
Because he's basically reformed the whatever they call the Uncanny Avengers. So it's
Avengers.
But
that was the Unity Squad or what they're
the Unity Squad. Thank you. That's what they called it in the comic. But basically, his line was something like, "Yeah, I know a thing or two about fighting fascist idealism or something like that." And it's just like, yep, you absolutely do. I'm like, that's my my Captain America would be running around the New York sewer system with mutants fighting, for truth and justice in the American way.
And pizza.
Well, that is the American way. I think so anyway. It embodies so much of what makes this country great. Except pineapple on pizza, which is an
which makes it fantastic.
Which whoever came up with that should report to The Hague immediately.
Oh, no. For commendation for a Nobel Prize? Is that why?
No.
For a Albert Einstein congratulation awardee thing? That for
I'm not even sure what that is, but no.
Success in
fruit.
And
for the genius it took to put fruit on pizza. That's what we're doing today.
Fruit and salt combos that are unobtainable by any other means?
I don't like fruit on pizza.
Yeah. See, Tuffley knows.
Yeah, well, wait till Rob gets here. He'll show you. or not. On cue as always.
What am I going to... What am I going to...
And that was live. Thank you.
Oh, my God. That was amazing.
Okay.
Although your internet was on cue, and that was great.
Oh,
yeah, that was good.
What happened now? What? Huh?
Well done, Rob's internet.
We're done talking about Dragon Con. So anyway,
Oh, okay.
John was trying to defend pineapple on pizza.
Oh, Janet loves pineapple on pizza.
See?
Oh.
Well, wait. She married Rob. So what does
Hey.
that say? Wait a minute. What hill?
Your wife?
I find my enemies and my friends.
I believe that Steve likes pineapple on pizza. That's what that means.
All right, so
Well,
now
all
Rob's
right.
here. We can talk Dragon Con.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Pineapple and bacon. Pineapple and ham. Pineapple, ham, and bacon.
No, she
Pineapple,
must,
ham,
Maybe you're thinking
bacon, and
Bacon?
onion.
Don't do that
She's,
to bacon.
And
she's a
I
vegetarian.
congratulated you.
She's a vegetarian, so she gets it like with spinach or mushrooms.
she-
Oh, okay. Well,
Fine.
this is sort of one of those uneasy kind of Cold War.
But I will
friendships
have.
that we
It's going to be a
found.
Cold War now when I talk to her about you. But I don't mind it on pizza. I mean, I'll
Oh,
have
I love it.
Yeah.
Yum, 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 yum.
Oh dear God.
Let's talk Dragon Con because I wasn't there.
There was a thing that happened.
Watched from a distance.
Really?
Yeah, I watched from a distance. Yes, I was not there. I know my lack of presence was felt.
Actually, I did a few people stop me and lament that Bad Ben wasn't happening this year. So it was nice to be missed.
Oh, there is that. I saw that. Yeah, I saw a couple people post something like that. I mean, you guys still could have held it. I don't know why you didn't.
The X-Files had an anniversary this year, and they kind of had to do stuff about it because they were
whatever.
track. So I don't hold that against them. Occasionally, you have to actually have to do panels about that show. So
Yeah.
occasionally. So, I don't hold it against them.
Excuse me.
They've put up with us for years, so they probably deserve a break from us for a while.
Yeah, it's the only way the company can pay for his therapy and condoms.
Is that the only way?
Therapy and condoms, as opposed to condom therapy.
Yes.
So Tuffley and Rob, you were there. How was the show?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we were there. I think Lee was there.
She was.
She I think moderated a panel and did something. I didn't see her all weekend because she didn't want to see me. She kept saying, "Oh, we're gonna meet up. We're gonna meet up," and then it sent it to an email address I had like 7 years ago that she knew. So I get it. All right, I see how it is. The Canadians were there. We saw them. And
good.
I miss the Canadians.
Yeah, I saw
Hello,
Steve very
Canadians.
briefly, but I know they were there. Saw them once on an elevator, and Steve ran into one of my panels to hand me something. And I think Damien was there. I didn't see him either.
He was there.
Damien
Yeah.
was
He
Damien was one of the people running X-Track.
Yeah,
I
he's their assistant.
Yeah, I knew that. I just didn't see him. People, toughly, I don't think you had this problem, but people kept asking me where my wife was, and I said she didn't come. And then they asked how her bike was, and I said she's not my wife.
But the first answer is still true.
So that was fun. And then there's at least 3 or 4 people that said they saw her that weekend. I'm like, oh, you did? Okay, great. Sure. There was another girl there with a bike though, so I can kind of see that. I didn't.
Sounds like
get
a
the
French
person's
film.
name. I didn't get the person's
other
name.
girl
I
with the
think
bike.
I just walked by them at the Marriott and said, "You sit on a throne of lies," and went about my business.
Who is this?
Other bike girl. Other girl with the bike.
Yeah.
She sits on a.
I just
what
walked
was
by
it?
her at the Marriott.
Throne of lies?
Well, I just said I was on my way to meet Tuffley for dinner, and I saw the girl and she had her bike. I'm like, "Oh, you have a bike?" She goes, "Yeah." I go, "You sit on a throne of lies," and I just kept on going.
Now, when you walked away, I wonder what her thought process was. Does
It's
he not
Dragon Con.
believe? Does he not believe in the power of bicycles? That somehow
It's Dragon Con. I don't think she really thought about it. She probably thought it was something to do with the cult of John. So, So
were you
no, it was
with the eyes on her?
it was
Mostly-
good. I saw.
Although
I
to be
think
fair, most things have something to do with that, so it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw Tuffley and I didn't do a panel together till Monday, because the convention would have fallen apart earlier if we had done one earlier. But yeah, I mean, I had a okay time. My regimen was pretty much do my panels and then go to my room, because there was a bunch of stuff I did want to see. Like I wanted to see the George Takei panel, for example, and Dragon Con is fantastic, and they put that on Dragon Con TV, so I got to watch that in my room, and I got to watch some of the Anton Mount Star Trek panel. I think I saw some of that.
Sorry to interrupt.
I think you ended up having a website.
How did the questioning go? Because I know that this year they were doing the whole Discord thing.
I will give you some background info. A couple months before the con, everyone who moderated got little notes saying, "Hey, we're doing it different. We're doing Discord, blah blah blah," and they sent us questions like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday questions, right? And those are the questions that were used that day, that were safe from SAG-AFTRA trepidations, right? And then we could also, with those questions, and this is just for the guest panels. This isn't for like ordinary fan panels.
Right.
We could take questions from the Discord, right? So we had to kind of go through the Discord ones and feed out, no, I can't ask you about this. I can't ask you about that. No, we can't do this. Can't do this. Can't do this. So that was kind of tricky. But like what really helped me when I had Mandip Gill and Billy Piper is that there were questions about what made you decide to become an actor, or what do you like about acting, that were kind of like centric to why they were coming to the con or what they did, right? And you could follow it up with talking about their theater, right? And then if all else failed, you ask them what they wanted on a sandwich, right?
Or pizza, and they all said pineapple.
I don't know if pizza was on. We just did see the questions, so because I showed them to him after the con, and so we had that made it a lot smoother in terms of doing some of the research and the prep. But it was very weird not like having to like deep dive on who some of these people were, and what their careers were, and who worked with Brett Summers and who didn't, or whatever, right? And then so a lot of the guests just rolled with it, right? It was pretty cool. Like I had
it was interesting because you don't get the same 7 stories you've gotten from them like previously.
Yeah, like when I was talking to, I had some people from Firefly, right? And one of the things that they were saying backstage is we don't have to answer who the biggest Joker is on the set, and we don't have to answer what was the funniest flub line, right? So there's certain questions they get at every con they didn't have to answer, and they were kind of relieved by that. But it got interesting because they could actually talk about like, this is why I became an actor or whatever. And when I had the Firefly panel, I had Gina Torres on. I'm like, okay, how good is the food at the royal wedding, and how good was the booze at the royal wedding? And she was like, well, the food, it's England, so the food was the food. But she talked about how basically she had a person assigned to have her drink always full. So she would drink champagne, she'd drink it half full, and then a guy like a valet or whatever the hell they call those guys would come and just basically fill the rest. And each person had somebody assigned, right? And she said at the end of the night, she thanked the guy and gave him a little curtsy. And she's like, I'm not sure anybody else ever told that guy they appreciated it before. So that was kind of cool.
So how did it feel being James Lipton?
Oh, I've been James Lipton for a while. Because I tend to always ask questions like this anyway. I mean, I try to ask questions that are kind of show related, but also kind of interesting related. Like, what do you like to read or whatever, right? I don't ask them like, when's the last time you cried, right? I don't ask them that. But yeah, so that's how they handled the questions. And I think it worked better when you had groups of people. So like when I saw the panel with the Arrowverse guests, they could just roll with it. They could get a question like, what type of tires do you like, right? And they had 6 other people that could all roll with it, and it would just kind of spiral into almost a free form Who's Line, almost kind of. When you had 1 or 2 people, it was different. It was a little difficult. When I had Billy Piper and Mandip, it went really well because they each could talk about different things, but we tried to sort of tie it together a little bit. And I had the people from Eureka, and I couldn't think of the what do you call it? The Discord was a little slow, so I stopped and asked them, what's the last airplane movie you watched when you were in a plane? And they were talking about that. The scary thing is that when I was doing Toughly, you didn't see any of the Mandy Gill Billy Piper panel, did you?
I haven't yet. I didn't know if it made it under the website yet or not.
So there's a part of it. There's a part of it that you will probably notice, but at one point my phone decided it was automatically going to lock. Right? Yeah. So
was that where your question for?
I was trying to open. No, I had a little sheet in front of me. But one of the things I did, because I do not trust technology, is I went and talked to the guests a little bit ahead of time and said, these are some of the questions I'm going to ask you if we have a technical issue or there's a snag. And I wrote them down so I could roll with that, right? But in the meantime, it's like, oh boy, here we go. But it was only down for like 5 minutes, but it was like,
yeah,
it was like 10 minutes into the panel. I'm like, I only prepared 6 extra questions and I can't ask them about Doctor Who. This is going to be weird, right? So that was kind of cool and bizarre. I had the kids from Hocus Pocus, and I had the Eureka panel, and I'm glad we didn't have to ask questions because I never actually have seen Eureka. So I figured Damien was probably hiding somewhere laughing evilly. And I hadn't seen Hocus Pocus until before the convention. So yeah. And the Firefly panel was pretty okay. And then Mandeep Gill is lovely. Billy Piper is much more funny than you might expect her to be. And she talked a lot about books, which was kind of cool. So those panels are cool. And it was like weird because you're not like looking into the ballroom trying to see where the person in the mic is with the person to ask questions. And at the Marriott, sometimes you can't even see them because of the way they light the thing. They're like, I know they're out there. I just can't see where the fuck they are. Right.
Yeah.
So that was cool. I did find out where the bathroom was in the Marriott ballroom, which is great. So I used that all weekend. So I didn't have to pee around public people in a pandemic, which is very important.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So that was good. And I found the other secret elevator for the Hilton. So I didn't have to ride an elevator with people when I was going back to my room, which was great. And sometimes because it was the, what they call it, whatever the staff use, not the staff elevator, but like the one they take the
utility elevator or
like their utility elevator. If you order room service, it's that one. So I was on an elevator with a guy who had like a cart with like 7 things of champagne. I'm like, they gotta miss one of those? And he goes, yeah. I go, damn. But I asked first. So that was kind of cool. And then I didn't make it to the dealer room. I didn't really walk around the Marriott a lot. Probably the most frightening thing was I did a Good Omens panel for the Urban Fantasy Track. And Carol Malcolm is one of the nicest people in the world. And the walkway that connects the Marriott to the Hyatt to going outside to the whatchamacallit, the Westin, someone decided that they were all going to walk at the speed of a third world country, right? It was like, it took me literally 45 minutes to get from the Marriott to the Westin at 6:00 on a Friday, right? And it was like that the whole weekend. That's the one thing that like I would have fixed is like, that walkway all weekend was nuts. I avoided it after that. And otherwise, it was pretty routine. I probably did the hill more this year than I ever have, just going outside because the weather was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh yeah, it got okay. So it got hot on Sunday. Sunday was the hot day,
Yeah.
and
What day was it?
that
What day did you say it was hot?
Sunday.
Sunday. Oh, okay.
Sunday was the day when the temperatures went back up.
We went back when it went back to normal after the hurricane.
When it went back to the 90s, yeah. When it went back to 90, yeah. That was not a good day for me personally, but just for breathing and other things. But otherwise, yeah, the weather was actually decent for most of it, so that was nice. I part-timed this, and I've been at the last couple of years where because we don't stay at the hotels anymore, just because we just don't. And I usually just commute in. I commuted in. I did my panels. Had a couple of meals with Rob, which were nice.
Yeah.
Checked in with family. Had a couple of dinners with them. That was nice.
Yeah.
Met up with a couple of people, and then I went home.
Yeah, I was.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say because you were able to go home. That was nice.
Yeah, I went home, and because also the games that we'll talk about later when we get to recommendations both came out that weekend in early release, so I had reasons to go home. So,
nice.
But it was a nice weekend. I didn't do as many panels as I normally do, but
me neither.
Also, we were missing people that I probably would have liked to have seen there, but it was all right.
Yeah,
it was okay.
Yeah, I mean, everything ran pretty smooth.
Yeah,
they kept the attendance.
How are the crowds this year? Because the pictures I saw, every time I saw video, it seemed, at least in the, what would that be, the Marriott?
Thursday
it
when I
thinned out a little bit.
Thursday when I got there, it was a little nutty. Friday was nuts. It felt a little smaller, but then again, my experience was with the crowds is walking through it, trying to get the hell out of there or get this. I either was on my way to doing something else, or I was on my way to my room to do something else because I still had a couple like workish things I had to work on, and I had to.
They did sell out.
Definitely wouldn't understand the hardships of this, but I had to work on a radio show a little bit, so yeah.
That's okay. I do not feel that hardship. It's fine.
Oh, you can.
I can, but I'm not gonna.
So did you say they did sell it or they did not sell out?
I think
no, they sold out.
Yeah.
They sold out. They sell out now. Because they capped the ticket sales. I'm in number. And I don't know, but they've been continuing to do that from the last couple of years. That was the holdover from the the COVID.
Yeah.
They kept the solid number, but I don't know if they raised that any from previous years. But
I don't know either.
Haven't raised it to 2019 levels yet.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I do like the fact that they got all of us moderators to kind of talk to each other because I don't know who some of these people are. It was kind of nice to know them and just kind of sort of the left hand knowing what the right hand was doing. And generally, all the people on my fan panels were pretty cool. The panel we had on Monday was really good. We had some good people on that.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, so I mean that was nice. The other thing that really surprised me more.
That's what that topic was, or
streaming.
Yeah, it was on like
streaming services.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
like how to watch stuff on streaming
services,
streaming, or as we call it, Bad Men Light. Yeah, the other
that's
thing.
That's how I sold it.
That's a ported version of Bad Men.
The other thing that's
exactly how I sold it.
The thing I thought was interesting is this is probably the year of the most recent years that I've done more fan panels with other people masked. Like there were more masked people doing panels this year than I've seen in a long time. Like the theater panel I did, is theater pop culture. I think everybody but one guy was on that. The Good Omens panel, I think everybody was, except I think Carol. And so that was cool. And then I went to
the actual stage.
Yeah, not the fan panels, or not the guest panels, but the fan panels. Yeah,
that's interesting.
So yeah,
but I do panels nobody cares about. You have to understand that. So I mean,
here's the thing I thought about though, and I've thought about this a lot of years because I'll mask everywhere else, but when I'm up doing a panel, unless anyone's not comfortable with it, I'll take mask off, because if people can't hear in the back, they need to see what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, that would be the only thing, because we don't have the translator. They don't put the translators in the fan panel room. So you have to, sometimes I thought about, well, what if they can't hear what we're saying? So I've been doing that. I don't know if that's makes a difference or anything, but
I mean, I did a panel on Atomic City or Asteroid City. That was fun. I did a panel on Jurassic Park.
You did a whole panel on Asteroid City?
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah.
How? I just watched that and I'm like,
we talked about the movie and kind of the ideas of it, characters we like, stuff like that. Wes Anderson.
Well, I mean, I understand the concept of a panel. I just feel like just that one movie itself in and of itself doesn't. I mean, I guess it could.
Well, they also did a panel on the Shazam.
I mean, I guess it could.
And they also did a panel on.
But Shazam, on the other hand, is a masterpiece of cinematography, writing, and it is to cinema what pineapple is to pizza. It is a beautiful,
I would agree with that.
Delicious,
so that very few people
sweetness to the saltiness that is the.
So that explains the box office, then, doesn't it?
Yeah, they talked about the Flash a little bit. They had a Flash panel.
Still can't make myself watch the Flash. I mean, the movie, not the television show is perfectly fine.
The Good Omens panel was fun, though. That was a lot of fun, and the people that asked questions at the fan panel were like smart and nice and interesting, and you know.
I did the Doctor Who panel, and surprisingly, people still want continuity from that show, which I just laugh at.
Oh, I ended up doing. I had no Doctor Who panels, right? Until
it was mentioned.
When did I tell you this?
No, you didn't tell me this particular thing, but somebody else mentioned it to you that you didn't have any Who panels.
Yeah, so I went down on Sunday to say hi to Alan before his panel.
It was Sunday. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, and they were getting ready to do the continuity of Doctor Who panel, and then Rob Bowen's like, "Hey, guess what?" And I said, "What?" He goes, "One of our panelists didn't come, so you're on this panel." I'm like, "No, I'm not. I'm leaving." So
that was why I was getting phone calls from the Brit Track Sunday and I didn't answer.
I didn't say call Tuffley. I should have thought of that.
No, there's like that
Tuffley's local. He can come in anytime.
Yeah,
that panel Tuffley explicitly said he didn't want to do anymore. Let's ask him to do that one again.
Yeah, and I didn't get to do classic Doctor Who, which is the one I really like, but that's okay. So we had a nice little panel on that, and I got to see some of the Brit Tech people and that. So yeah, and I went to a bunch of other cool panels, like the science panel did a whole thing on like different types of birds and bird calls and how birds evolved from dinosaurs. That was pretty awesome. And then I went to a bunch of stuff for the space track. Which was pretty cool too. And then I went to a guy who did a panel on how to debunk the moon landing is faked people. And
debunking the debunkers?
Yeah, that dude was ready. He was like meticulous. I'm like, man, I should have had you write a report for me in college or something, because that dude was ready. Right. So yeah. And then I'm trying to think. The Decay panel was that I saw was pretty great. I mean, most of the fan panels and stuff I went to was pretty great. I went to a panel on Japanese literature you should be reading, which was pretty cool. And so
I finally got to do a panel on James Bond.
Nice. That was Thursday night, wasn't it?
That was Thursday night. I was excited. I was so excited that I even agreed to do a Thursday night panel.
Yeah.
But it was good.
I basically didn't want to sign up for anything Thursday because I wasn't completely sure how the flights were going to work because holidays are so crazy now. I'm like, if you want to schedule it like late in the day, I don't want to schedule something for noon because there's only 2 flights out. And I had to get a 6:20 a.m. in the morning flight. And I got into Atlanta at like 9 in the morning. And my friend Marty got me and at the airport, and we went to this really fantastic breakfast place called Ria's Blackbird, which is right across from the Oakland Cemetery. And we were like, while we're here, we should go see the terribly ostentatious Kenny Rogers grave. So we did. And that's when I found out that there's basically a person whose job is to handle that and make it look nice. But I think it's somebody that used to work for Kenny. It's pretty insane. If you're ever, in that neck of the woods, it's pretty crazy. It's like it towers over everything else in the museum, in the cemetery. So that was cool. And then I tried to get away from the con a little bit just to clear my head a little bit, and I went and saw the samurai thing at the high, which was just amazing. It was like a guy and his wife from Texas have been collecting like samurai stuff and memorabilia for like decades, and this is like, here's all their samurai armor and here's all the accessories. It was like having cool Barbies, right? Instead of having like a Barbie playhouse, they had like samurai armor with all the accessories, right? And they did a really great job with tying it into like samurai culture and like the Kurosawa movies or Kill Bill or things like that. And so that was kind of cool. And I briefly went to Criminal and Wax and Facts. That was the extent of my record shopping. I got in, I got out.
Can I tell you the records I got? I ended up getting at con.
You mentioned something, but yeah, what'd you get?
Yeah, I got Technique.
Yeah, you were telling me you got Technique. Yeah,
I got Technique, and then I got Oasis, the What's the Story Morning Glory reissue. Got that.
Yeah.
And then I got I think I got Stone Temple Pilots. It was purple. I got they got the clear, the 75th anniversary thing they just came out with. So I got that.
Nice.
But yeah, the records, there was somebody selling records at the con, and I'm like, this is weird.
Yes. Well, there's people that sell records at the con every year.
Are they? Okay. Didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh.
That's the first year I've run into that.
This is a conversation we'll have offline later.
Okay.
But yeah, there's been like a record trading fast out of the con for a while. We usually would get together on Thursday nights, and then everybody would make lists of stuff that they were getting rid of, and if people wanted it, we'd bring it down and trade or stuff. Yeah, I generally just I don't have enough room in my suitcase, and digital media is your friend. So I did very little, but there's 1 or 2 things I wanted, and there's a couple things I wanted to get for gifts. So I got that and got that out of the way. So there was a thing I got at Wax and Facts for 60 cents, and I ended up flipping it on Discogs for way, way, way more than that. So I was very happy because that paid for my trip. So
I did a Pink Floyd panel. It was fun.
Yeah, how was that? They kept bugging me to do it, and I'm like, I just literally came off of doing a panel with Widge on Pink Floyd, and I was kind of like, let other kids play.
I think it was just me and Alan, and it was good though. It was good. I
thought they had their person on it. Okay.
There was, but they didn't make it because they moved it to before the parade.
It was 10 in the morning, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the same time as the parade. Yeah.
Yeah, I unless it's a guest panel, I'm trying not to do the morning panels.
Well, that wasn't the music panel that was supposed to be against the parade. The music panel that was supposed to be against the parade moved. So, which was the other one I wanted to do. I wanted to do the blues rock one, but I wasn't on that one. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't do that either. So.
But the Floyd panel was good. I thought that was fun. I enjoyed that. Trying to think what else did I do? What else did I see? Because I went to art show. I went to the dealers. Actually, by Monday, if you wanted, usually, okay, if you're local and you want to go to dealers, Monday, do it Monday, because I was able to just walk in, which is, as you know, very difficult to do at Dragon Con on the other days. So
Yeah.
if you want to go to the dealer's room and you're not leaving Monday afternoon, do it Monday.
Yeah, and Kim got her sword thing exchanged, right?
Yeah, she did.
You had to get a sword for. Yeah.
Yeah, we got her lightsaber part fixed.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So
nice.
But and she also came. She came Friday. She went Friday. She Monday. So she was there Monday. So she was there a couple of days.
I think I saw her twice.
Yeah, you had dinner with you.
Well, I saw you guys at dinner. Yes, I remember having dinner with you. So, you know.
But it was a nice weekend. But like I said, I also had other things going on, so I did Dragon Con Plus.
Yeah, I had a couple things I had to do, so I did those mostly in my room, and it was nice not having to worry about, oh, I've got to bring the questions for this guest and this guest. I mean, that was a certain amount of ease with that, but it does throw your timing off having to look at the Discord thing all the time. But I was able to like sort of enjoy other panels a little more because I was doing that way.
The way our Luther panel turned out actually pretty well.
That Luther panel is actually, that digital Luther panel is.
That Luther panel came out pretty well. By the way, everybody can watch Dragon Con TV. If you have the streaming service, you can dial up the Luther panel, and there we are.
And it's cheap. It's like $10 for a year.
It's $10. It's $10. And I think a couple of your panels are actually up there too.
Yeah, so if you want your babies to fall asleep, just play my panel. If you're looking for a Halloween idea for, Tor Johnson, just watch my panel. Yeah.
You know what? Oh, I say this, and I'm probably going to embarrass you when I said one of my favorite panels at Dragon Con was the thing you did with Eccleston. So
that is the best panel I've ever done.
Yes, that is. I always point to that, going, "Hey, that was great." So
yeah, because Billy Piper pulled me aside after the panel. She's like, "You had Chris last time, didn't you?" I said, "Yeah." She's like, "He didn't yell at you." I said, "No." And I'm like, "So what's the story there?" I'm like,
I let him go 20 minutes about Joy Division.
I told her afterwards, I made him laugh. She's like, "You made Christopher Eccleston laugh?" I said, "Yeah." She's like, "What?" I said, "I just, he, we were talking about the Hacienda, and he said he couldn't remember any of it because it was so long ago." And I said, "Yeah, right." And he just started laughing. I'm like, "Okay." But yeah, no, that Eccleston panel is probably the best thing I've ever done. The Capaldi one was great because he's he'll talk about anything. Yeah. So, and Eccleston's done. You don't realize how much stuff Christopher Eccleston's been in. I mean, it's
So. I always point to like that panel, going, "Yeah, that my favorite panel I've ever seen at Dragon Con was that."
Yeah, and I told him ahead of time.
And you had something to do with that, so,
And I told him ahead of time, I'm like, these are the two questions I really want to ask you. If you have a problem with them, please don't punch me. Just tell me if you'd rather not. And it was like, are you coming back for the 60th? And why did you leave? And it's like the first time he talked about it. And he said, well, it's the first time I felt comfortable talking about it. I'm like, oh, okay. But then we literally talked about...
And that was really cool, by the way.
And we literally talked about music for like, and it was funny because he got there early and we started talking about something, and then we started talking about records, and then somebody who was one of his handlers and somebody that was there was like, "Oh God, you're talking about, oh Jesus, the panel will never start," which is very funny. But that dude's got cool taste in music. I mean, luckily all these people have mostly cool taste in music, which is great. I always want to do like a Desert Island Disc panel for Dragon Con where I just get to talk to them about music for an hour, but I don't make that decision.
I mean, I've been sending you messages like in a year where you could probably get away with doing something like that.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah, who knows?
But yeah,
But I mean,
DragonCon.
I had fun,
was
but
good.
I it still it still felt weird because a lot of the people I wanted to see weren't there. But because of that, I could compartmentalize and actually spend some time with people and not have to run around 12 different ways.
Yeah.
And having a seriously light workload was nice. Because I got to walk around the con a little bit. And the weirdest fucking thing though, the whole weekend, I gotta be honest with you, this fucking Mrs. Roper thing. I was coming back from going out and I'm like, why are there 600 people dressed like Mrs. Roper from Three's Company? I don't know what this is, but it's kind of cool. So they had like a couple hundred people. They all met up before the masquerade, dressing up like Mrs. Roper. All you need is pretty much an Annie wig and a muumuu, right? Yeah, it's
although that is a lot of people in downtown Atlanta, actually, to be fair.
Yes, but it was actually kind of cool,
weirdly before Falcons games. I don't know why, but
yeah. Well, the Falcons play that weekend. They didn't play that weekend, did they?
No.
I know the college sports ball team played.
There was only. Here's the other thing. Going back to John's question, because he's not here, I'll go ahead and answer that now. There was only one college game.
Oh wow!
During the weekend, and that was on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So there was only one college game around the con, and ESPN wasn't there, which is also kind of a weird thing that ESPN wasn't there, but they were in Charlotte. So we only had one college football game, and it was on the Friday. So we got the college football game out of the way, because normally it's Thursday and Monday, usually when they have the college games. So
I didn't see any of those folks, so that was kind of nice.
Yeah, because they weren't there. That was because it was only on Friday night.
Yeah, I was really amazed
because when we were talking about our dinner plans, actually, I'd mentioned, you might have a little trouble on Friday night just because of the one football game, but yeah.
Yeah, and I generally try to not eat around the con just because it's so compact, and sometimes you just want to be around people that aren't dressed up like Wolverine or something, right? And that's not a bad thing. Sometimes you just your headspace needs to get away. So,
right.
Yeah. And the thing is, man, there's so many friggin' places to eat in Atlanta that are great now. And I got
a Michelin recommendation, man.
The thing is,
that just happened.
There are so many places that still do outdoors. That was actually cool. That was actually cool. So, what you eating there, John?
DragonCon. That was a thing.
Yeah.
Just a Pop-Tart.
No.
Oh, nice.
Pop-Tart.
Okay. Be careful. Those are made from people.
Yeah. Why do you think?
How many people?
How many pineapples were harmed in the making of this?
People who need people.
Yeah. People who see people.
Are the Pop-Tartiest people.
But, I mean, I think that this year, and I don't know if you noticed this, Tuffley, but more people went to the fan panels than I've ever seen at fan panels before, too.
I think that was because we could talk about the stuff the actors couldn't talk about.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
We could actually talk about the programs that everyone was there to, shall we say, talk about.
And, I was okay with doing that. It's something different,
Yeah.
I did kind of wing it. There's a couple questions I sort of like, I want to ask this, so I'm going to ask that, Everybody likes
but
likes
yeah,
a break.
all the fan panels that I did were very well attended. The Pink Floyd one as well, which I thought, okay, I'm not saying that's not an unpopular thing, but I was kind of surprised by turnout we get.
There are a lot of people that just don't want to have to fuss with going and standing outside in the Atlanta heat with the parade when it's on TV.
Yeah.
but there's also people that love it. So that's why they have the panels and everything else too. So
yeah.
Yeah. There's one or two times I think I felt like I was like, God, there's too many people around. I got to go. But otherwise, it was pretty relatively tame. I was lucky because I was at the Hilton, but I was on a high floor, so it was quiet the whole weekend. Like I didn't hear a DJ. I was on a floor where not everybody was from Dragon Con.
They did move
like
the DJs around in the Hilton.
Yeah, there was a guy.
Because normally they have them in like, yeah.
Yeah, there was a guy who was a pilot I saw a couple times. Yeah. I finally went to that liquor store across the street from the Sheraton or from the Cortland or whatever the hell they're calling it now.
Cortland Grand or something.
And did you sell from the prices they were charging?
I went on Thursday before the con started and got a couple things.
They don't raise the prices until Friday because they forgot Thursday.
Yeah. And man, if I were to say I went to a liquor store in Georgia and everything that you would think of in the top of your head was pretty much, yeah. It's a guy that looked like the big boss man that was working from the WWF. Yeah. That was pretty cool.
Nice reference.
Yeah. So, but they were all nice. So that was good. Yeah, I didn't do a whole lot of public drinking, but sometimes you just got to hang out by yourself. But yeah, our floor was pretty quiet. It was great. And that was nice. And I only had to wait on the elevator, I think twice. I was on the elevator with Mandip once going to her panel. And I talked to her for a little bit. That was nice. And I was on a panel I was on an elevator with Lee Majors, which is pretty friggin' awesome.
Nice.
Because I said, I know you're super busy, but when my aunt was alive in Prescott, Arizona, you helped her carry groceries and firewood out to her car a couple times. So thank you. And he was like, oh, okay. It was like just the nicest guy in the world, man.
Yeah.
And didn't he remember? Didn't he remember her? Yeah.
Yeah. Once I mentioned that she was sort of like the town attorney, then, oh yeah, he was very nice. Oh, Tuffley, did you see the new carpeting at the Hyatt?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. It does
look a little.
It's a little bright and a little swirly, but I saw that on Thursday and I was like, somebody said that they just put it in, right? And I'm like, who the hell puts new carpeting in your hotel 2 weeks before or 3 weeks before Dragon Con or whatever, right? Or even a month before Dragon Con. Like, don't put in your new carpeting till like September.
Although, Rob, to be fair, this is the con where people obsess over the carpet.
Yes, I'm well aware of that. It's also the convention where people like obsess over the room keys.
Yeah.
Right? Because the room keys have different design things on them, right?
None of them do. Not all of them do. Just the Hilton, the con. Some of the con hotels do, and not the whole weekend.
So it was like the Marriott, the Hilton, the Westin, I think, right?
Yeah.
And the Hyatt, right? 5 of them, whatever.
Oh, hang on.
And probably
5 of them.
Probably the Cortland or whatever the hell they're calling it. Somebody referred to it as the Courtney Love once, which I thought was really hilarious. But like somebody's like, I was checking out, and somebody's like, "Oh, you do anything with your room key?"
And like, you will, and Rob, you will ache like they ache.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm trying to get on a plane and get out of here. Don't bother me about my room key, right? So I've still got my little room key thing. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but yeah, see, that's what you missed, John. You missed getting a room key that's got a robot on it. Oh, a transformer. I didn't even look at what was on it. Yeah.
Yeah, you missed that. It was so memorable that you didn't remember.
Oh yeah, there's the Hyatt carpet. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very nice. I mean,
that's from the MCU Ringmaster.
Well, I was gonna say if you could pick something from the old Xbox visualizer, then I guess that's the one you go with.
You could kind of just stare at that. You could just kind of stare at that, and like, man, I'm gonna like that made me say to myself, I'm gonna put on some Alan Parsons and stare at the carpet. That's what that tells me.
You know, I feel like Flaming Lips all of a sudden.
Yeah, that's also a Flaming Lips carpet. You are exactly right. Yes.
Don't get
I love that. Do you realize song? Because it's upbeat and happy, but it's really gut crunchingly sad, which is great. Yep. So yeah. And if you ever want a really nice place to eat and just be left the hell alone, that little patio outside the Hilton is fantastic. Because a couple times I was going to panels, so I waited. I went down there and waited till like the crowds thinned out, and then went to my panel.
Yeah, when we used to actually stay in the Hilton when we stayed there. That was kind of where you'd go to like get out of everyone's way.
Yeah, and I still was kind of like I'm still not a fan of crowds now. It's kind of like my thing. I go to it's really weird going to shows now, and like theater.
I'm less conscious of counting the room when it's a show or when the lights are out. But I know that I'm not trying to navigate that room.
Yeah.
Because we've been to a couple of shows and it's been like when we went to the Cure, when we went to the big arena shows, it's been a little nerve-wracking, but once the show starts, it's fine. But
yeah.
And then right before the con, a couple of weeks before the con, we went to see the National, and it was at Chastain.
Mm-hmm.
And Widge is familiar with the venue with Chastain. I hadn't been there before, but it was very nice.
It's named after her. Yeah.
Yes.
That's the outside venue, right?
Yes, that's the outside venue. And and we got there on a really good night when it was like sub 80 degrees. Like,
oh, that's nice.
In that period where it wasn't raining, but it wasn't terribly hot. That was the first time I'd been there, and we saw the Beths and the National,
Nice.
Great.
Yeah, that's where I saw a couple things there. I saw Tori Amos there. I saw.
Oh, that must have been great.
Yeah, that was good, and the really great Seal concert I saw there.
Yeah,
the one where he was playing. The live versions of his songs were completely different from the album versions of the songs, which were completely different from the B-side versions of the songs, and they were all great. So that was a good one.
But yeah, we saw Seal?
He's still around.
Well, I mean, I know it's still alive. I just
no. He's still putting out records.
I'm looking it up now.
I think he's done like 2 duets albums.
He's on tour. He's on tour now or something, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was great live. The other one who was great live was Tracy Chapman.
Oh,
especially, and that was, I forget which tour that was, but what I remember most was it was what you would expect from Tracy Chapman. Nothing really outlandish. I haven't listened to anything she's done recently, but at the time, nothing too crazy, pretty subdued, whatever else. And then for the encore, they came out and rocked the living shit out of Proud Mary.
Yeah.
It was fantastic because it was so unexpected. The band was on fire and she was fucking great. So
nice.
Yeah. The last thing Seal put out was an
Standards.
album of Standards from 2017.
Yeah, because he toured. I didn't see him here, but he toured with basically Trevor Horn was touring with a band, and he was basically playing all.
He was doing the first album, right?
Yeah, because he was doing. Trevor Horn was doing stuff from like the Art of Noise and the Buggles and bands that he produced and was in and stuff. Yeah. So.
Yeah. It says according to Wikipedia, he's on tour. Seal is on tour right now in North America.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
And apparently,
yeah, I'd forgotten that Doug Wimbish from Living Color. Yeah. Was on that first album.
Oh,
yeah, Trevor Horn. Nice.
And apparently, I read over the weekend at the Nationals little festival thing they did in Cincinnati that apparently Pavement played probably their last show.
Yeah.
Really?
Apparently, that is the rumor, that they actually had kind of hinted that was going to be their last show. So,
well, are they breaking up, or are they just like not doing live shit anymore?
Well, they've not really done anything in a while. They've just been doing reunion tours, so I think they're taking a break from doing reunion tours, supposedly. But they got back together a while ago, and then they split up, and they had these anniversary reissues, so they've been kind of playing live consistently since the reissues. So I guess they're gonna try not doing that, but apparently the rumor is that the show they played before the National came out was the last one. Is the story that's going around now.
That would not surprise me.
No.
Well, they just put out 2 albums this year, it looks like.
I think they were reissues.
First 2 pages of Frankenstein and Laugh Track?
No. That's the National. That's the National. That's not.
Oh, who are you talking about?
I was talking about Pavement.
Oh, I completely missed when you said switched from National to Pavement. I was like, what?
This happens when I talk about music. Sorry.
They played. So the National curated a festival in Cincinnati over the last weekend.
Huh. Okay. Got it.
And they played. Yeah, and Pavement actually opened for them on the last night. And apparently that set from Pavement is apparently reportedly their last show.
Okay, then.
Until somebody comes around with a big checkbook.
When they come with a payment for Pavement.
Yes. Yes, that is.
But no, the National Shadow dropped an album on Monday, so they're fine.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
that's
for
now, supposedly.
And they did a song at that show with Patti Smith too, which was cool.
Yes, they did. Because she came out at the end of one of their sets. So
yeah, because she played that festival too. So
yeah.
Nice. Okay. All right. I'm caught up now. I get lost.
It's okay.
In your eyes.
So, okay, Toughly.
Yeah.
This is your jurisdiction, the Unity thing.
Oh, is it okay?
Yeah, I mean, isn't it? I mean,
are we joining a call?
Yeah.
Did I miss something? I just woke up.
It's a little more Kim's area. Sorry. The whole Dragon Con Sleepy Time tea. That's great. Yeah. So Unity, used to be the go-to development tool for game devs because it was inexpensive. And it was actually, if you kept it under a certain level, you didn't have to pay for it at all. So lots of people used it. And now suddenly Unity has decided, well, for a number of reasons, including was Unity the one that ended up buying Weta? Is that what happened? Unity bought Weta? Was that them?
Know.
That wasn't Epic, I don't think. Basically, as far as game development engines go, there are basically 2 players here. You've got Unity, and you've got Unreal Engine from Epic Games.
Right.
And the stuff that they've been using in, like, the Star Wars, the volume that they've been using for production of the Mandalorian and various Star Wars stuff. And I think also the same thing they're using on the Star Trek shows now. Is basically Unreal Engine. And then Unity, to get into this arms race, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they bought Weta, the special effects folks. I believe that was Unity. So gotten into, shall we say, lots of debt, and they need to make up some money from that. Also from production slowdowns, because thing that's been going on that they haven't been able to do anything.
Toughly, you're totally right. November 2021, Jackson
that
sold
was them.
the VFX. Yeah, sold the VFX Tools Development Division to Unity for $1.625 billion.
Yeah, I think you found the same stories I did.
Yeah.
But so yeah, they took on a lot of debt, and the guy currently running Unity is the guy that, one of the people that used to run EA. So that should tell you something.
Oh, yeah.
I forget his name, but Tortella or something like that. But he's the guy that's running Unity now, and apparently they're in some debt. And someone came up with the lovely idea of, hey, let's make this retroactive. Let's try to charge everybody who's ever all the devs that created games with Unity based on their lifetime installations. Let's charge everybody over a certain level of fee. Let's see if that's going to work. Kind of like the idea of billing people for things you were under the impression were free when you downloaded them years ago, then come back with a bill. Somebody just sends you a bill.
That sounds like it's Oracle's modus operandi. They'll install everything. That. If you actually happen to just stumble across one feature, you owe us for it. Well, why'd you have it on there unlocked? Well, yeah. But we won't tell you about it until you've used it for 3 years, and then we're going to go back and bill you for 3 years.
Except that instead of just one feature, it's all of them. It's the whole thing. If your game is running Unity under it, you were going to be charged this fee.
Per install.
In some cases, retroactively. In some cases, over the entire life of the game. So what some devs have done in response to this is they've pulled their titles from places like Steam and the Epic Games Store and everywhere, so that they can retool the game and remove Unity from it. Or they've just delisted it, period. Some devs just delisted their old games, period, because they can't afford to do that. Like larger game publishers that have used Unity, they're considering their options and either just looking at their bill and going, no. Which is, I believe what Microsoft and Sony's response was, literally laughing at the bill that they were going to get. And then Unity kind of pulled a reverse on that. What they were going to do, what Unity was going to do, was send Sony and Microsoft a blanket bill for games that had Unity in it on their subscription services. So if you installed something on PlayStation Plus, or if you installed something from Game Pass, that bill went to Sony and Microsoft. And Sony and Microsoft were going to look at that and go, oh.
How would you legally be able to do that? Not to say no, but the retroactively, was there some legalese in the terms of use for Unity that said we can fuck you later?
Look, nobody reads EULAs. You don't read EULAs. No one reads EULAs. When you install stuff, that whole block of text you just scroll through to get to installing the thing you're trying to install. Nobody really looks at that. Nobody really looks at all 70 pages of that. I'm sure somewhere in there somebody snuck the line in that this is a license and we have the right to change the terms of the license at any point. Something to that effect, where they could literally go, okay, yeah, we can charge you for that.
There is a link to there's a website that you can actually feed that text into, and it will scan it and come back and tell you the bits to be concerned about.
Yes, but nobody does. Well, not a whole lot of people do that either. But
no, I know.
EULAs, you do read them. EULAs, why you should probably read them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So,
but yeah, that's the basic story of it. And people have kind of called bloody riot on that. And Unity is now considering their options. They're not entirely walking that back, but they're walking some of that back.
What I just quickly read is one part of it they're walking back is that they aren't going to retroactively count. They're going to start from zero. They're not getting rid of the fee. They're not. That's not what they're doing.
Getting rid of the fee. Their original plan was to make this retroactive over the lifetime installs on game. That was their original plan.
And I've read where, first of all, I'm just fascinated by companies that commit suicide. I don't know why, but when they basically shoot themselves in both feet and then their kneecaps, and then I'm fascinated by this.
Well, I mean,
shareholders.
Unity is trying to outrun Embracer for who can burn out more quickly, right? And if you're not sure, Embracer's the people who bought the Lord of the Rings IP, the right to Lord of the Rings. Like they bought somebody's rights. They bought the estate rights.
Wow. Okay.
So, among other things they bought, they went on a bit of a spending spree when there was venture capital and free money out there and all sorts of things they invested in. They bought, for instance, a lot of video game studios. They bought when Square Enix divested themselves of their North American studios. They bought all of those. Shit. And they are running into a situation where now they're running out of cash. They've already killed off a dev called Volition who did the Saints Row games. They're gone. They've dismantled that, and they're also selling. Reportedly, they're putting Gearbox up, which makes the Borderlands games, which is probably the most successful thing they have right now. That's not Lord of the Rings. Wow. And they're putting that up for sale because they're very quickly running out of cash. So
wow.
Embracer and Unity are neck and neck trying to figure out who burns out first. But the Unity thing is really not helping at all.
Yeah, I'm also fascinated by people thinking something is a good idea when literally within minutes of them announcing this, people were poking holes in it and finding where it wasn't going to work. Yeah. And so if you uninstall the game and reinstall it, that's another fee.
Yeah.
And so you could basically fuck over a small developer by just writing a routine to install, uninstall, and reinstall the game.
Yep.
And run up a huge bill. It's like, I don't know why I find it fascinating.
And also that they were just going to give Microsoft and Sony a bill and they were just going to pay it.
Well, now
which was the craziest part of that scheme.
That is crazy, but there was somebody who I think got arrested or sued or both because he for a while was sending, maybe it was Microsoft, was just sending a bill for 5 figures to Microsoft. Let's pretend it's Microsoft. Yeah. And for stuff that he hadn't done or anything, and they had just paid it because they were, just running through the bills and paying them. So it's not completely insane.
It's not completely insane, but yeah. I mean, notice how, and I'm not sure this is correct or not. Notice how in this scheme that they don't mention Nintendo anywhere because Nintendo's not going to do any of that shit.
Wow.
I was just reading the facts over on their site about this. You can tell that they've been asked some questions, but one of the
questions.
They've been asked some questions. So one of them was, how is Unity collecting the number of installs? Which that's a thought that I also had. I was like, wait a minute, what? This is distributed all over the place. How do they even know how many installs?
Oh, this is the one that's the hand waving.
Yeah, it's like, it's proprietary, which means, oh, by the way, we've been backdooring this entire time. It's like, because there's another question.
Tracking, because
another question says, will games made with Unity phone home to track installs? It says, we'll refine how we collect data over time with the goal of accuracy and understanding numbers of times Unity runtime has been distributed. Any install data will be collected in accordance to our privacy policy, which I assume everybody has read. It's down in the lower left corner office with the third filing cabinet, fifth row.
Guarded by a leopard.
There's a couple of ways, you could legitimately track that, but no, they've probably dialed into people. I mean, what you could do is like
they've probably been doing it in the background.
Yeah,
well, the other thing too is the other thing you could be covering up by saying
Steam sales charts too, and just easily figure that out.
Well, but for the older stuff that you're not sure about,
Yeah.
the proprietary secret is that we guessed. I mean, because it's proprietary, we don't have to tell you how we came up with the number. But here's
it does. Oh, by the way, I think you alluded to this earlier, but it says under the how are they collecting the number of installs? It says the number of times a runtime is distributed, blah blah blah, and a given project. But this estimate will cover an invoice for all platforms.
Yeah.
This estimate that's proprietary.
Yep.
We'll let you know.
I know they try to build the platforms themselves. Because there's no way Sony, Microsoft, Valve, or Nintendo are going to look at that and go, "Yep, we need to pay that." No way.
Yeah. So, yeah, add Unity to the pile of dumpster fire companies.
Hey, speaking of, did you see that X, formerly Twitter, I don't know how long we have to keep saying that, but is talking about
the dead
charging folks now?
Charging everybody because charging certain people didn't work so well.
Right, no, charge anybody that wants to use their service a nominal fee every month.
Oh yeah, that's going to go well.
The excuse for that is that's the only way that he can figure out to get rid of the bots, because the bots would have to put in a new credit card every single time, which they would need a new one.
Because the bots aren't capable of coming up with credit card numbers.
Well, ostensibly not legitimate ones. No, hopefully not. But probably.
Got a feeling he doesn't care if it's legit money or not.
Just kill your entire.
Really, the guy who lives off his family's blood diamond fortune? Yeah, sure. No, I'm not sure he cares about fake credit card numbers. Allegedly.
Well, he is from PayPal too, so there is that angle. What do you call it? Yeah. So any quicker way for me to get me to leave that platform? I haven't used it in forever. And yeah, that'll certainly make me go, yeah, you know what? So it's funny. I didn't even realize this, but when I started doing 50 days this past year, I just finished whatever. The auto post to Twitter was disabled, and I looked into it and said, oh yeah, once Elon took over, pretty much all of our APIs just went to shit. So.
They killed all the APIs.
We can't even deal with it. We can't, they want to charge and all this other nonsense. So
yeah, it was the fact that they wanted to charge, and basically the fees were going to be ridiculous. So everybody just turned off their auto posts, auto whatever, anything that used the APIs.
It's a very similar situation to what happened with Reddit, where Reddit was going to charge groups for posting or other apps for posting to Reddit.
Right. Yeah. And it's my youngest was talking about this because they were saying that one of the things is, I'm not into Reddit, but one of the things was that there's these tools that make moderation possible that are third party and for the bigger subreddits, and tools that make it easier to read or to sort, what you're trying to read. But they're all third party, and they're all going to be charged, and they're all free for most people. And yeah, that was a big deal there. I don't know how it fully turned out. Did they back off? Is that what happened?
I'm not really sure how the Reddit thing ended.
I
know there are still some subreddits. Apparently, there may still be some subreddits where the editors didn't come back, because basically all the editors of most subreddits basically shut down in protest.
Right.
Some of them have not come back yet. Some of them have been replaced.
See, what I find fascinating, I find lots of things fascinating, that Elon proves his complete lack of business acumen, because you cannot start charging for something that you were previously giving away. No more than you can say, you notice nobody comes out really and flags the fact that they're raising prices on anything.
Right.
Well, I mean, the wrecking ball, wasn't the wrecking ball to all of this ask app do not track from when Apple and Google are to do that? The ask app not to track, because all of the data that they were getting from Apple and Google, and once Apple and Google initiated giving users the option to ask app not to track, even if only 20% of people use that, don't or decide to opt out of that, that's still a ton of money that those online services aren't getting, and that kills your advertising revenue if you don't have data to sell to advertisers. That's the whole point of social media's entire game. Is having this data to sell.
Yeah, if they're not selling a product, then you're the product. Basically, was that the line?
Yeah, basically. So if they don't even need everyone to adopt ask app not to track, right? Even if like a very small percentage of like
some coffee with the cream there, which
you like cream? Do you really like cream? It
cools down the coffee so I can drink it faster. That's the main thing.
But yeah, ask app not to track basically set us on this road of like no making money off social media.
Well, and how much of this also is driven by Europe, because they're
the EU has a lot to do with that too. But that's the cascade.
The final countdown band?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. That guy. Because they're the ones responsible for killing the lightning cable as well this week. So
really,
it all starts. Yeah, Apple win USB-C.
The guy, the band in Europe is responsible for killing the lightning and the lightning plug and ask app not to track.
Yep.
It's truly the final countdown.
Yeah, it's the band that is the reason why I don't have comments on Need Coffee turned on.
It's all those Carrie fans.
Wow.
You wanted to see if I could name another song by that damn band, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the Cherokee. It was called Trail of Tears. Was that the song?
If there was anybody who could name another band, it's Tuffley.
The Superstition is the third song you're thinking of. Superstitious is the other song you're thinking of.
No, is that it? What?
Trail of Tears
is not at his own game.
These are what do you call it? These are
the Days of Our Lives.
Yes, the Days of Our Lives. These are before Google band names, because when you try to Google Europe,
Asia, never name a band after a continent. Never.
Or what's the other one? Live is a pain in the ass to try and look up.
Well, Live is a pain in the ass.
Well, there is that as well.
The breakup of that band, by the way, when you get a minute, look up the breakup of that band. That's a fascinating story and a half. Yeah.
Oh, a lot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or the latest version of their breakup. There have been several.
Oh, it's just called Cherokee. It was simply called Cherokee. That's what I was.
Yeah.
Marching on the Trail of Tears, Cherokee.
Yeah.
That's my impersonation of Europe, the band. Europe.
But
so,
yeah, was it the book Practically Irrational that was talking about pricing and about how the mind works with pricing, and the reason that Starbucks doesn't do small, medium, and large, but instead it's tall, venti, and grande or whatever, is because grande, in your mind
there's also Trenta.
There's also Trenta, which is larger than the human stomach. I've actually seen one in the wild. It was crazy.
Yes.
But no, the reason they did that is because your brain doesn't go, oh, that's too much for a venti coffee. Too much for a large coffee. I shouldn't be paying that. Oh, it's not a large coffee. It's a venti coffee. It's what your brain does. And so you're more likely to pay it.
I think my brain just says that's, and I go, yes. And brain goes, okay, whatever the cost. You put that into me.
Caffeine?
You make sure that
for what I need to do. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You make sure I have fuel, or you do nothing.
Yes. Who knows where you'll wake up this time?
What price can you?
That Libertines
what price can you put on
is,
awareness?
Line at Starbucks.
On staying alive while you
put on consciousness. My God.
Yeah, Unity. But anyway,
see, that was their problem. They should have sold named. They shouldn't have called it. They should have called it community
business.
Free. They should have been in the Italian fake Italian word business. Yeah. They just named their plans that way. See, it's funny because one of the tool that we're using right now, StreamYard, it does actually have a free version, and they which we're sort of in between. I used when they changed their pricing plan. I said, well, you know what? I'll just go down to the free. I don't need it. I don't need to pay for this all the time. They offered a alternative in between to offset that, so that they didn't lose all that revenue of people that were like, oh, well, I don't want to pay the extra $4 or whatever.
Right.
Which is the advantage what I took advantage of. But that's a case of where they still left the free version there. It was still available to use.
Yeah.
And that's how it should, if you start from the beginning saying, okay, here's a little base, module, you can use this, you can do whatever you want, and you can probably get by with it.
Premium.
But if you want more, you tack on more.
Yeah, the premium model. That's the one that I think works the best. I mean, what is it? I especially like that. I've moved to Logic Pro because Adobe has just pissed me off beyond my ability to handle it. Yeah. So, but Apple was like, here, download it for free, try it completely full version for like 90 days and see what you think. And I was like, whoa, okay. So I basically was able to start learning it before I even paid for it, but I have since paid for it. And it is typical of Apple products in that I make it more difficult by being used to previous paradigms. Oh, you mean I just have to do option 5 or something, and that take. Oh, okay, never mind. I'll stop cursing at you now.
Well, anyway, my point was with the StreamYard thing was the one thing that StreamYard did not do though was when I said I'm going to go down to the free, they didn't go, oh well, by the way, because you're going to owe us for back recordings that you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because and that's good. That means they're not dicks. So
correct.
Well, the other thing, and weirdly, it just makes Epic look less dickish for their policies, because Epic's policies are not that better. But,
No, that's right.
Well, but
for Unreal Engine, they're not that much better, but they look less dickish for their policies.
But Unreal Engine has always been the money side of those two engines. You know what I mean? Where if you have more money, you use Unreal.
Well, also from a business standpoint,
because Unity was a really easy programming language for people to grasp, or a engine to program in.
Yeah.
Whereas Unity's more. Not Unity. Unreal is a little more technical.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other thing is the thing Epic has that Unity doesn't is, they're successful with their effects work because they got a lot of people to adopt it early. And the thing is Fortnite, they have Fortnite money. So right now they can kind of do what they want and not care because they have Fortnite money that continually comes in on a regular basis. So I'm sure as soon as Fortnite runs its course, whenever that is, it seems eventually.
We've been waiting for that for a while, though, Tuffley.
But
it just doesn't seem to die.
When Fortnite eventually runs its course, what they'll do is
that's a problem.
John, here's what they do.
When all the players turn 18, they're gonna leave the game. Is that what?
Oh no, that's Roblox, and no, that still happens.
Roblox had its own
allegedly
drama recently too, didn't they?
Oh yeah, Roblox has several drama. There's the whole thing about their entire payment system and how they treat under 18s on their system, who are basically making content for them for not very much money, and then the abuse of said under 18s by both staff and allegedly adult users of Roblox. And there's several issues with Roblox that are happening right now that is just bad.
The interesting thing too about the Unreal thing is that even if they're more dicks because the money was involved, if they were upfront about their dickishness, you could say, well, they're assholes, but at least they told me they were assholes.
Yeah.
Which honestly is better than, oh, you were stealth assholes. That's why it's like, I always appreciate bumper stickers.
The other thing I look at,
thank you for
the other thing I look at in terms of like the Epic, by the way, they bought Bandcamp. So I'm a little nervous. I'm watching that going, okay, so where are they pulling the plug on Bandcamp? But they seem to have left it alone for now. So again, that's another thing where you look at it and go, okay, when the Fortnite money goes away, that's going to be the thing they look at. But yeah, development, it's not great.
Yeah, I wish.
Also, to tie into the strike thing that maybe we're going to talk about, devs are looking to unionize. The devs are looking to unionize, and I think Screen Actors Guild is also starting to look at their voice actors in a situation on unionized.
Yeah, Screen Actors Guild. I just learned the other day.
Yeah.
Now has podcast contracts that you can enter into the union with.
Huh. Interesting.
And there are different levels too. Like there's the micro level, the whatever level. Anyway, there's like one that's contract that's for less than $10,000 if you're earning less than $10,000 a year or whatever in it. And then there's 10,000 to like 100,000 or something like that, and then 100,000 and over.
Okay.
Interesting.
I didn't look into it very much. I happened to hear about it, and so I looked at their quick little synopsis of it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Now, I mean, I don't know if it's a way to get through insurance, but
you're talking about the video game voice actors?
Well, there's a separate guild for that, but also Screen Actors Guild is looking at in the area as well. But they're also looking at their members that are also doing voice acting in games. because there's the Voice Actors Guild, which is a completely separate thing.
Right.
And then Screen Actors Guild. I think what Screen Actors Guild is looking at specifically is members that are already doing voices in games.
Well, I would assume they would be under the Voice Actor Guild at that point, right?
I'm not really sure how. It's the same thing as the daytime deals that they have with like game shows and newsreaders and all that. Where there's some sort of separate agreement that's been reached.
Right, but I'm saying
in those areas.
I'm wondering what they're looking at doing, because like if I was a writer and director, my assumption is I would be in the DGA and WGA. So if I was a screen actor and a voice actor, I would think I would be in both unions.
Yeah,
basically.
It's kind of the same situation. Yes, it's the same situation as like, you know, the what they were talking about with the equity actors.
Right.
In the UK, where if you're an equity actor, you were not encouraged to participate in the strike, but if you were equity and SAG, because you were covered by SAG, you could actually participate in the strike.
You could,
because you were covered by your SAG card, but not your equity card.
But in the UK, the laws will allow them to like sue your ass if you strike. If you're SAG and if you're working over there, my understanding is SAG has said, yeah, go ahead and do the stuff over there, because the government, the laws will allow the production. You can strike all you want, but we'll sue your ass. So
yes, theoretically, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, the whole thing's convoluted anyway. So
I just found it funny this week that like Drew Barrymore got dragged for like her deal, and yet Bill Maher is sitting fucking right there, clear and open, and nobody took the shot.
Well, basically, what was it? The creator of, I had no idea there were like 15 Power shows, like Power Book 2, Power Book 3.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I knew there was a show called Power, but that's it.
Yes.
But
there's 17 billion Power shows.
They call it the Powerverse, which is hilarious.
Yes.
But the creator of that said that they were going to picket the living shit out of Bill Maher, and I guess Bill Maher tapes on the West Coast or something, because
yes, Bill Maher tapes on the West Coast.
So, but someone in New York was like, "Do you want me to?" An alumnus of the Powerverse pinged the creator and was like, "Hey, you want me to do something in New York?" It's like, absolutely. So they were coming after his ass.
Well, I mean, yes, but the whole Drew got a little more of a kicking than probably she deserved to get. Particularly since A, Bill Maher is a WGA member, and B is a dick.
Yep.
But also, just, you know, the other thing that I find interesting is, well, they are starting to picket the View now, which they were not doing. But also that Bill Maher and Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar are WGA members, and Drew Barrymore and Jennifer Hudson aren't. So that would probably go a long way to explaining why they got dragged how they did, and not as much as other WGA members, which you don't want to start the infighting, but it's easier to go after other people. So I just thought that was a little unfair.
At this point, I would think that if you were thinking about going back to any show that you did, that you would probably talk to somebody in these unions, or talk to other people you know that are in them, and just sound them out if it's a good idea. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, this is the dumbest idea in the world. You clearly weren't thinking, right?
Right.
And
well, the thing is, it's like, it's obvious that the WGA wants to work with people, because they're doing the, you know, them and SAG are doing the exception waivers with the people who are willing to meet the demands. So like, if I was trying to bring back a show like that, I would go to them first and say, hey, listen, I want to do this. How do I do this? And
also, I'm kind of fascinated by I kind of want to know now how many people are responsible for writing Bill Maher's political dad jokes.
Yeah.
I need an accounting of that, and we need to know like why he needs that many people to come up with that many dad jokes. Bad dad jokes.
They're all not funny, and he needs a break.
But I that was the only thing that struck me about, like, at least last week of it was like, why is she getting all the static, and like people who are actual writers are getting away free and clear on this. But no,
I know Bill Maher has decided he's not coming back.
No, he has backed off of that.
Yeah.
The View, however, is still going, but the other question is, people still watch The View?
Yeah.
Well, the difficult part of this is we've talked about before is that there are other people that are impacted by these strikes, and so
that's
like Drew Barrymore, and like Drew Barrymore is like, well, I'm also trying to keep other people employed at the same time.
But that's why,
because the other thing is, and the other interesting thing is in terms of this, right? Because we're all the thing where they're talking about like Jimmy Fallon and the late night guys are paying their staffs somewhat. And I don't think Bill Maher's show is paying any of his staff. And how many more times?
I'd be surprised if he ever paid his staff, but go on.
That's true. But but the other thing to think about is how many more times salary these guys make beyond what Jennifer Hudson and say a Drew Barrymore make as far as their daytime shows, right? Like they've got those late night hosts and Bill Maher have got to be making at least 2 times more than them combined, so they can afford to pay their staff and sit out, right? So there's also the economy of scale in terms of how much some of these more established shows are making, and how the newer shows the pay scale of the newer shows work, which is also a thing to think about when you're thinking about like who to go after. But
and again, if part of my concern was that, listen, I really want to keep my staff working, the first thing to do is, like Rob was saying, you go to the WGA, and if you're putting it in that context, it's it's easier to have a conversation than, oh, we're just bringing the show back, because I didn't hear anything about we need to keep the staff working until after the blowback started.
Yeah.
So,
and so she wrote this thing. She wrote this thing before when they announced the show was coming back, which wasn't exactly. It was hard to follow, but the explanation of I need to pay my staff was somewhere in that.
So basically, well, and I'd heard that everything that she had put out showed that she really needed writers.
Well, yeah, basically. I mean, yeah, that was the other part of it too, but I don't know. I just thought the pile up at the beginning a little unfair, considering that people who are actually card carrying WGA members are also in this pile and are kind of getting away scot-free from it. And then as soon as Drew bowed out, that, oh, these people are WGA members, they should, and they're also doing this, that's bad. That kind of seemed a little off.
Well, it might be a thing too where they're trying to nip this in the bud and just keep people from not thinking about returning to work or whatever without some sort of check-in, right? They're trying to keep united front, so they're probably trying to keep everybody on the same page. I'm sure that this talking podcast thing that Colbert does with Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon, I'm sure they talked to somebody from the union ahead of time to say, we want to do this. What are the parameters that we can and can't do it?
Yeah. It's the same thing as like what Jon Stewart's going on a stand-up tour. Like
Yeah.
I you know.
Well, and in addition to being on the podcast, John Oliver's doing stand up
Yeah.
to pay for his
So
staff. And what was it? Colbert, Fallon, and Kimmel are doing a
Yeah.
live show in Vegas, which is going to go
yes.
towards paying their
Yeah.
staff. But
I mean, we should
Yeah,
also. I don't know what the URL is, but I know there's a. Does the eBay thing have a unified site now, where they were doing the eBay auctions for like memorabilia and
don't
stuff
know.
to go for?
I think basically if you just Google
Yeah,
eBay
okay.
strike auction,
Yeah.
Because I know that's
some of
still
those
going
were-
on.
yeah, some of those were great.
Yeah,
And some of them were insane.
I know you.
I saw some
mentioned the
fake
Tom
ones that
Waits
were
hat.
great.
Yeah.
Oh, oh God, do you know how much I want the fucking Tom Waits? But there were some fake ones that people had.
You and Damien talking about that.
There were some fake ones that people had created. It was like, you can bid on the chance to smoke a bowl with John Carpenter and then play Sonic the Hedgehog for an hour, which I thought was like, I mean, that sounds fucking amazing, honestly.
John Carpenter will kick your ass at Sonic.
I know.
I've seen stuff. I've seen stuff with like between John Carpenter and Hideo Kojima, which is, by the way, great if they're both talking to each other. Those are conversations are interesting reads. But over at the old Dead Bird site. But
yeah, and any of the John Carpenter, Kurt Russell audio commentaries are also great.
Yeah,
because they're fantastic. But no, the two things were the whole thing about if it's possible to put on a show without writers and keep from getting destroyed. But the other thing was, I'm glad that they are seemingly putting behind them this thing of, why the fuck are we giving people waivers? Because to me, that's, what was it, Jessica Chastain who did the analogy of the major leagues versus the minor leagues, which I think was...
Well, I think it's, the other thing is, and lots of people have made points about this, like, if we can get indie studios to agree to this, why can't the big boys?
Oh, and to me, that was that made the whole waiver thing to get some, like the Ferrari folks showing up at the festival. That was worth the price of that, getting that done, because they were able to use that as a platform. And wasn't it Adam Driver who just raked them over the fucking coals for that same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if the indie studios, if A24 could agree to it, like, why can't Sony? Why can't...
Yeah, exactly. Well,
why can't Disney?
Yeah, but so that was my whole thing. It's like, if you're what you're trying to accomplish is just striking, then strike everybody. But if what you're trying to accomplish is to put pressure on the people to fix the situation, then
you have to show examples that it can work.
Yeah, you have to work with the people who want to work with you, and because now
you can make an argument that what you're saying is reasonable.
Yeah. Well, more than reasonable if the indies are taking it, but it looks like now the AMPTP might split up, because the ones that are holding out, the smaller studios, are like, "What the fuck are you doing? Just fix it," and they're refusing. And so it's like, go ahead.
Somebody had explained it like this: the thing that is different with the producers this time is that it's not just the studios; it's Apple and Amazon and a couple of technology companies that also now run productions.
Studios. Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah. And so basically they're in the mix now where they weren't before. And they're the ones looking at things going, wait, why is this the way you're doing that? And that seems to be the instability of that, which is the technology companies are clashing with the old studios, going, why do we want to pay this much to do it again? And I think that's a lot of that could be the technology companies, A, in an area they're unfamiliar with, to B, making arguments that they're not entirely informed about, apparently, but that seems to be a part of that angle that maybe, to what you were saying, is why some of the studios are splitting up, because the strategies are different. Yeah. Because obviously the big studios want things the technology companies don't. And vice versa. Like, the studios have more money in some cases, the technology companies have more money to play with than the studios do.
Well, so, like Apple.
And to the other point, we haven't entirely decided that Apple isn't going to buy A24 or ESPN or Disney. We haven't decided if that's going to happen yet. So,
well, I think
that may be a thing that happens before this.
Like I said at the time, when what was it? When Disney was putting together who was it was before Apple did Apple TV Plus or whatever it was. Right before they threw that out there, somebody went up for sale. I don't think it was Disney.
Because Lionsgate's still on sale.
But it was like, if we had only known this was going to happen, we wouldn't have had to put together our own fucking channel. We could have just bought this one. But and I mean, the whole streaming thing is I almost feel like the streaming companies are getting the best out of this deal, because they're able to shut down people's productions and thus not spend money, which they are trying not to do anyway. So
yeah. Well, I mean,
and they're finding now the studios are more amicable to opening up, new contracts with Netflix again. So, because they need to make money somewhere.
Well, the other thing is everybody's trying to sell their libraries out, because everybody took their ball and went home. Everybody took their ball and went home. That's how this started. Everybody took their ball and went home, and then now we've just. Oh wait, not everyone's balls are as profitable as other people's balls. So they're going to.
If I had $1 for every time I've heard that, not everybody's balls is as other people's balls, I would be a bazillionaire by now.
Well, you are in Florida.
Ball zillionaire.
That is where that makes more sense.
Well, and that would actually. Because, I mean, if you've got Amazon, who has got their entire empire behind them, and then you've got Disney, who can cross-pollinate everything with everything else, it would make sense for everybody to come back to. It would make sense for what's his face, Zelazny or whatever, Skavansky or whatever from WB Discovery,
Zaslav,
to take all the stuff that he's dumped off of his own channels and give it to Netflix. At least try to make some money off of it.
Some of the plans on this stuff, and we talked about this at our panel, some of this stuff is going to go to like people's free ad run, like free streaming, freemium streaming services where they serve ads.
So the NFL Network's on Pluto now.
Yes.
Wow.
That blew my mind. I was like,
because
that's usually cable only thing.
Because they want you, because Red Zone is now a free agent and available on many services, and they need you to buy it. They need you to pay up for. They need you to pay for a ticket in Red Zone. That's what they need.
It says it's free ad supported, right, on Pluto for the NFL Network, which I didn't look at. I don't have Pluto installed, but it popped up on something, whatever. But the I imagine it's just the regular ads that NFL Network puts in there to begin with.
Well, I mean, the other thing you have to remember is one of the entities that pays for the rights for self-help is Paramount.
Is what?
Paramount
You gotta-
is
I'll
Paramount CBS that also owns Pluto. So
Oh,
so it's in everyone's vested
synergy.
interest for that to work.
Vertical integration.
And then if you end
Horizontal
up buying
mambo. Wait.
Yeah, if you end up buying
we're back to balls again.
Everybody makes money. So that's that.
It's the microwave on 30 Rock.
Well, the other thing is what was it that they announced today? Max announced separate sports tier.
Oh yeah.
Like Max announced a separate sports tier for $10 a month. But he gets until February, who are subscribers to Max. And then after the end of February, it's this other $10. But highlighting this, it is stuff that is from the cable networks. So if you're still subscribed to individual networks that carry these games in some way or another, you still get them, and you don't have to pay for the Max service. This is the way they're selling this is, well, if you don't have networks that this already runs on, well, here's this other way you get these games.
Is that like how Amazon is like, oh, hey, you can pick up Showtime by just doing it through us? And
Yeah. So it's that sort of thing. It's sort of an add-on, like, well, if this isn't anything, we're not taking any there. They made the point of saying currently, they are not taking anything away from what's on channels that already carry like NCAA games or NHL games or NBA games. We're not taking those away from any places they already air. We're just sticking to somewhere else where you can get them without subscribing to the other things.
If they actually on a sports channel were like, yeah, for $10 a month, we're going to bring you all of the crazy shit, like extreme ironing,
if the Ocho were like available as a separate service.
Something like that. Yeah, the marble races that they were having, the turtle races.
Isn't that already ESPN3?
Is it? I don't even know.
Well, one year, I think that they actually turn one of their channels into the Ocho.
Yeah, no, they do it every year now.
Yeah. It has all that nutty shit on it.
I think August 8th is what they do it. They do it on now. I think usually it's August 8th that they make one of the ESPN networks the Ocho, and they just run all weird shit they used to run on ESPN2.
Nice. Well, the other thing is the other idea would be, I don't know if you guys have seen you must have, the Improv Everywhere thing where they showed up to make a little league game into a major league game.
Yeah,
it's fucking amazing. It's one of my favorites. But like, if you just every so often just randomly show up at some tiny event and do that, like, with huge sports announcers, and just treat it like it's the most serious thing ever, like the frog jumping contest or whatever. It's the pogo championship or whatever. That would be kind of amazing.
Also,
I think that is
the other thing
is several of the shows when they do the Ocho that do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, pickleball had to fucking come from somewhere, man.
I had never heard of this until
exactly.
It's been around forever.
Never heard of it until Tig Notaro was on Colbert and they were talking about how they had done a pickleball special together.
Yeah. I watched it. I forget what it was called. Probably called Pickled or something.
The other thing that fascinates me, and I wanted to mention this.
Yeah, it was called Pickled.
The Spectrum deal that Disney did, right? Like, because Spectrum and Disney were having this carriage dispute for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think in the comics she's called Photon now, but keep going.
Yeah. But they were having a carriage dispute with some of the Disney channels, with Disney specifically, and the settlement for that is interesting because one of the things among the things it does is they basically cut 8 Disney brand networks from the Charter Spectrum lineup. The other thing they did was they gave everybody the ad tier of Disney Plus, and then the people who subscribe to the sports package, everybody gets the ad tier of Disney Plus for free. And then if you subscribe to the extra sports package, you get ESPN Plus for free.
Yep.
Yeah, ESPN Plus for free. And the interesting thing there is, one, the networks that were being cut from the lineup include stuff like Freeform and Fox Movie Channel or FX Movies and FXS XX, excuse me, and some of the Disney specific, like Disney X, and I think maybe a Junior or something like that. And also I think I mentioned Freeform, but Freeform, which I also find interesting. Which I also find interesting because Freeform is the one that is stuck with the 700 Club for eternity.
Oh, those poor bastards.
That's true.
So if they kill Freeform, that means there's nowhere the 700 Club.
Jesus.
Oh,
no.
Not again.
No, because
that trick never works.
So this goes back to when Fox bought.
Would have got away with it too if it wasn't for you pesky Romans.
When Fox bought CBN from Pat Robertson's family, they gave the stipulation. And we might have talked about this before, but they put the stipulation in that no matter who owns the channel, whoever gets the channel as it is on through whatever, the 700 Club has to continue airing on that network, whatever that is, forever. Because they had a guaranteed time buy on the network for 3 slots. And those 3 slots had to be not necessarily in prime time, but they did have to be in slots where people actually watched television. And the only thing in the contract that was there was that the show had to air 3 times a day. Didn't matter what you ran before it. Didn't matter what you ran after it. 700 Club had to be on those 3 times forever.
So if they kill Freeform,
so if they kill
700 Club
Freeform, well, I don't know if necessarily if that's true because they have bad buy times on the channels. But the biggest distributor of the 700 Club is Freeform.
Wow.
So the only way to kill that deal, because Disney and Fox both took runs at trying to buy that permanent time buy-in for 700 Club. They've tried to do it for years, and they keep coming back with a huge number. The only way to kill that is to kill the network.
I mean, it sounds worthwhile to me. Kill it.
But I just found that interesting as one of the networks that was on the chopping block in the Spectrum deal was Freeform. Because it doesn't matter how many Pretty Little Liars marathons you have to stop it for 700 Club 3 times a day.
And isn't that where Runaways ended up?
Yes.
Yeah. Runaways and Cloak and Dagger.
That amuses me somehow that would be on the same network as the 700 Club.
That is not the network's choice.
I know it's not, but it still amuses me. It's not the network's choice that it amuses me. You are correct.
Yes. Yes. But I thought that was interesting. The other thing I found interesting as part of that deal is that now Disney can go to advertisers and say, we can't prove necessarily how many people watch things on Disney Plus, but that number is probably higher than whoever's watching ABC at this point. So we can get more eyeballs to Disney Plus than we can the broadcast network. So they can charge more for ads on that Disney Plus ad tier. So the thing I said several years ago in a Bad Men panel is absolutely true. They have replaced the network model with the network model.
Network model.
And the thing is, it gets better because the thing is, Charter and Spectrum got that deal. All of the other cable companies are going to want that deal.
Mm-hmm.
Because they can sell it as, hey, we got rid of all these channels that you guys said you didn't want, right? And we give you like Disney Plus for free, which we're totally going to charge you for later, but free now. And then Disney gets out of that guaranteed eyeballs to a thing that they weren't sure they were going to get eyeballs on, so they still get to make their money. And they still get to keep their ESPN carriage fee. So, but all the other cable companies are going to want that deal, and so I mean, it's basically going to lead to Disney Plus just getting more eyeballs on their ad-supported service, which I don't know. I don't know whose case that helps. If that helps the strikers, or if that helps Disney get in a better position where they can then turn around in the strike and go, okay, we figured out how to monetize this, so everybody can get what they want.
Yeah, I think one of the problems though is that a lot of these streaming companies are already looking at like how can they recoup money after the strike and what can they do after the strike, but they're not focusing on ending the strike.
No.
They just assume it's going to end.
Well, the other thing is, and in the middle of all this, and the other thing that I was kind of talking about on that panel we were on, is that the sports leagues who are being leaned on heavily right now for content, they know exactly how much they're worth.
Mm-hmm.
And they know exactly who's watching. And the next time, like the NBA is going to come up for negotiation soon. The NFL has a deal right now. MLB currently has a deal. The NHL deal is pretty much locked in for a while. As these leagues come up the next time, they're going to know how much to hit the networks for. And that bill's going to be large. And the thing they keep talking about is at some point, the amounts these leagues are asking for, it's going to crash. They are setting themselves up for a humongous crash at some point. But until the networks hit the point where they go, well, we can do it without you, they're going to keep paying it.
Yeah, and watch out for golf and tennis because those things are all coming up soon.
Yeah,
and they're growing. People watching them, and this is the only time golf will ever be discussed on this podcast. I'm sorry.
Pirate golf, though, it's fair game.
Although, oh God, where the PGA and Live Golf, where the hell is that going to end up? That's a train wreck.
Probably in Florida.
God, probably. It's the only state that could probably afford that. But that's a train wreck that's waiting to happen. But yeah, sports leagues are lead back going, yeah, okay, you kids work this out. We'll give you. They're going to do the Unity thing, except for the exception of, well, they're actually going to pay that bill. So.
Yeah, I mean, you take away people's NFL and college football. God help you. I mean, look at that thing with Nexstar and DirecTV. That thing was ugly.
Although the funny thing with the Spectrum deal was got the deal done so that they could air the Monday night game where what's the the quarterback guy,
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Weird druggy quarterback guy. Where he only made 4 plays and got injured. That they were trying to get the deal in for that.
Yeah. Well, they were also losing money from advertisers and stuff too.
Yeah.
And I mean, we lost our Fox channel here, which I'm fine with losing, but you got a little tired of hearing all the cranky old people saying, I want my news. Read a newspaper. Pretend it's the 50s.
Well, we should probably hobble towards recommendations. I think it's
sorry
getting
about
that time.
Not solving the world's problems.
That's okay.
I said we would only do it if we had time. So.
Oh well.
Yes.
I can go. I have things.
Oh, go Tough League.
So you might be, I'm just gonna go ahead and I teased this earlier, so I'll go ahead and get the games out of the way. So while I was other thing I was doing while Dragon Con was happening, and the other thing Kim was doing while Dragon Con was happening, Baldur's Gate came to the PS5 Dragon Con weekend in preview, and I paid extra money to play that game 5 days early. And that is it's already been out on PC and Mac for about a month prior to this, but Baldur's Gate is an RPG that basically simulates Dungeons and Dragons. It's probably the closest thing you're going to get to a Dungeons and Dragons tabletop experience that I found. It is theoretically the sequel to the 2 BioWare games from long ago. I don't need to know anything. They're basically separate games of their own. But it's pretty good. It's pretty fun, and I've enjoyed it, and I've put a lot of time into it, and it's the thing I've put more time into lately as far as a game goes. Haven't in quite a while. So I've been doing that. Kim's been doing the other biggie that came that week in preview, which was Starfield, which is the new Bethesda RPG, which is space Skyrim, basically. Pretty much space Skyrim. I've just given that a go for a couple of hours, and I'm still trying to. Kim is in love with this thing. Kim loves the space exploration game. As you would imagine, she might. And she enjoys the hell out of it. She's also more of a Bethesda RPG fan. I tend to bounce off Bethesda games pretty hard. I mean, what was it? My favorite one was Fallout New Vegas. Bugs and all. I love Fallout New Vegas, and that technically wasn't Bethesda. That was what was that? That was a studio that was working for Bethesda. They made the Outer Worlds. It was
Polygrip?
Obsidian. Yeah, it was Obsidian. So Obsidian did that one, so that's technically not a Bethesda game, but I enjoyed Fallout New Vegas quite a bit. Microsoft, if you could remaster that, please, that would be good. But I was in that. It's an interesting game. I'm still kind of playing the mission on Starfield. Baldur's Gate, you kind of have to play around and do side quests. It's not my usual. Yeah, okay, I'll play the opening and then I'll just screw around for several hours like I did on Zelda. Because we all know how I do open world video games these days. I basically do the introductory levels that I'm supposed to, and then I do whatever the hell I want afterwards. Which, we've talked about the way I play Spider-Man games before, so we need to go that far into it. But I have enjoyed Baldur's Gate quite a bit. The thing that I enjoy about Baldur's Gate is that you can kind of set the game difficulty based on how harsh your and really what you're doing when you choose difficulty setting is how harsh your fictional your virtual DM going to be on you in combat situations. But it's a really fun game. You have to do skill checks. You have to do rolls on certain skill checks. So it's a fun Dungeons and Dragons experience that I think a lot of people who have been curious about, if you don't have other friends who care very much about doing Dungeons and Dragons and want to see at least what it's about, you can kind of give that game a go, and it's pretty close to what you're. It's pretty close. There are some I guess rule skirting that you can't really do with a video game that you could do with a live DM, but it's a fun experience nonetheless. So that's what's been occupying a lot of time. But I have some records that I did get into. I don't think I mentioned the Little Dragon album the last time we were here. Little Dragon album came out. It's called Slugs of Love, and it's the usual goodness from them. I mentioned this kind of. I think we talked about this a little earlier, but the National Shadow dropped an album called Laugh Track, which is the follow-up to First Two Pages of Frankenstein that came out like 5 months ago. So
Right.
And it's a livelier affair than First Two Pages of Frankenstein, but it's the National, so that's not really saying much. But the guitars are a little more lively on that record, so I am enjoying that. Blur put out another reunion record called The Ballad of Darren, which is very kind of quieter and contemplative a bit, which I enjoyed a bit. They're writing songs about being old, which I kind of relate to now, so I'm kind of into that. Mitski put out a beautiful record called "The Land Is Inhospitable and So Are We" that I really, really, really love very much, and it's a slightly different from what she's been doing lately. The last couple of records she's put out, "Be the Cowboy" and "Laurel Hell," were both kind of synth poppy sort of affairs, and this one's a bit more folky. Even kind of treated a little bit, and I enjoy that a lot. But it's a very beautiful record, and I enjoyed that a lot. And that's what I've got.
Cool.
I'm done.
All right. Thanks, Tuffley. Rob, what do you got?
So I'm going to start with a band from Athens, Georgia, actually called Sexcess, which is, or Sex Cells rather. They're from Athens. They kind of sound, how can we easily describe this? It's not as like thrill as Sleater Kinney, but it's not as poppy as the Breeders. So it's kind of somewhere in there. But they have an EP out called "We're Probably Going to Be Friends, So Let's Get This Over With." Yeah, I know, it's pretty great. So yeah, I like that a lot. Also, the new Chemical Brothers for that beautiful feeling. Beck's on it, and some other people are on it too. That's pretty fantastic. 20th Century is by a band called Swansea Song, which features members of the band Heavenly and the aptly named Pooh Sticks. So their album's called 20th Century. If you're just looking for some fun little poppy stuff, that's great. And Slow Dive with Everything Is Alive, which is their new record, which is also pretty great. Yeah,
that's a beautiful record.
It's really nice. It's fuzzy, and then I'm not sure if Widge is going to mention it or not, but I found out about it through Widge. Medicine are back, and they have a new album, so we should talk about that. And they're going to tour too, which is pretty incredible.
Oh, and real quick, I'll mention this since we talked about this before, which I thought of. New Order they're doing a reissue of
yeah, I was wondering when you were going to talk about this.
Yes. Oh, I pre-ordered that shit. What are you talking about? I can get without giving away a spleen. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
See, I still just have mine that I've
I know.
Back in the day.
No, hold on to yours. You want to keep your spleen too. So
well, I never. The thing is too, because I had the cassette and then the CD. I've never played it. I never opened it. It just looked cool. So, yeah. Wow. So
you're not going to get as much as for an eBay, but you can still get a.
There'll be idiots that. I mean, people that will. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't really care about that. I didn't even know I had it either because I was clearing out through stuff too and finding it. It was stuck between some Calypso records and some Zambian punk. So yeah.
But yeah, that's reissuing in November, and I ordered the vinyl one. So I thought we'd mention that since we had talked about that before.
Yeah, the other thing I'm excited about is a book called Berserker, which is finally the memoir from one Adrian Edmondson.
Ooh.
Yeah. And it is a no holds barred kind of chaos anarchy memoir. So I'm pretty jazzed to dig into that.
There is
Ade Edmondson.
Yeah, there is a when he was on As Yet Untitled with Alan oh god, I'm losing my mind. Alan Davies.
Carr? Oh.
He told a great story about an encounter that he had with Joni Mitchell which is unbelievable. I will not be able to do it justice. I believe if you Google it, you could find it on YouTube. It is it is not going to where you think it's going to. It's lovely. Anyway, sorry, Rob, keep going.
No, I think that's pretty much it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right, cool. Thanks, Rob. John, what have you got?
Hey, I'm here.
Hey.
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 Hi, Bob.
We'll talk to Bob.
So let's see. What have I been watching? Let me recommend Hitmen. It's on Peacock. It's actually from a couple of years ago. It's 2022 or 2020 with 2 seasons. It stars Mel and Sue, who you'll like. Perkins is Sue's last name. I can't. I don't know how to pronounce. Thank you.
Yeah, I saw the first episode of that, and it was brilliant. And I need to go back and finish watching it.
It is. It's they play they play basically the people that they are. Friends who are hitmen and treat it as though it's just another career, just another job. Keep it quiet, but whatever. And hilarity ensues, and they're just it's just fun to watch them working off each other. It's just and if you watch Taskmaster at all, or I guess any British television, you'll see all the actors parading through there, one scene after another. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a good because it's obviously a British import that Peacock says it's an original of. It's only got 12 episodes. 2 seasons, 6 episodes each. So it's a quick watch, but it's fun. We're gonna head on over to Amazon now for The Portable Door, which was a movie that I watched. I
thought you were talking about an item that you could purchase. The Portable Door
movie, 2023, starring Christoph Waltz is the name that you're gonna know out of there, and Sam Neill and Patrick Gibson and several other people. I'm just looking at the cast list there. It's based on a book that I've never read because, hey, I don't read. But the idea is that there's this mystical company that is this guy works for. I can't give too much of it away. It's sort of, but they're looking for a portable door. That's the name of the thing, and the reason why that's important is sought out throughout the movie. But it's a really, really well crafted in fun, light movie. That Christoph Waltz does his best being the nice guy, turning into the evil guy, as only he can do. Where you think he's nice, but he's really not that nice type thing. So check that out. The Portable Door over on Amazon Prime. Also, speaking of movies that are actually awesome and you should purchase actual physical copies of, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse has come out on Blu-ray and DVD since we last spoke. It's available, obviously, over at Amazon. I don't know if I need to justify me putting Spider-Man across the Spider-Verse rather, on this recommendation. But if you know, really. If you've seen it,
and luckily it isn't Spider-Man Across the Universe, because that would involve really horrible covers of Beatles songs.
Also, unfortunate Russell Brand appearances. No. Don't want to go. Don't want to go there this week.
When you can have Eddie Izzard performing "Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite" and it sucks, then you've done something wrong with your entire life. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, no, not good.
So, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse available at needcoffee.com/Amazon/pizza on a pie is delicious. Don't let Widge tell you otherwise /Spider-Man.
And you can find that on the web.
Web.
What's
So-
the web?
Good Lord. So John is correct. If you go to neatcoffee.com/Amazon. What?
I said pineapple on a pizza is great. You're right.
No, you said pizza on a pie, which doesn't
I
make
said
on a
pineapple on a pie.
Sure you did. Go listen back. I heard you say pizza on a pie.
Tonight on Neat Coffee, Florida man eats pie on
Pizza on a pie. What kind of pie?
Pizza on a pie.
an alligator pie.
Oh,
Mm.
oxygen lack to my brain. Woo.
Oh, hello.
Mm.
So, yeah, if you go to neatcoffee.com/Amazon, you wind up at the front page of Amazon. Like you've gone to the front page of Amazon because you have indeed gone to the front page of Amazon. And anything that you purchase after using that particular link, we get kickbacks for, and that helps, as Rob says, keep the lights on. So we appreciate anytime you can do that. Bookmark it. I know that third Halloween, what some of you refer to as Christmas, is coming. So if you must shop through Amazon, shop through that link and throw us some coin. So I'm going to recommend two things. First of all, John mentioned Taskmaster. The new series of Taskmaster starts the 21st. So that's this when we record this Thursday. And my understanding is they're putting the episodes up on YouTube the next day.
Oh wow!
So,
Yes.
yeah. So, yes, I know. Taskmaster is amazing. If you have not watched Taskmaster, for the love of God, you should go. And don't judge it by the American version that they attempted.
Oh,
It was
please do not.
ill-advised. It wasn't right. It wasn't right. But the British
The wrong
version,
people in the wrong positions in that. Go on. Sorry.
but no, John
The New
Benson,
Zealand
right.
one would be good, I've heard.
Yeah, there was a I forget his name. One of the contestants from the New Zealand one came on the Taskmaster UK podcast and
Yeah.
was talking about some of the tasks that they had, and they sounded completely insane. So I'm gonna have to go and watch it because it sounds demented. But yeah, so Taskmaster definitely, and the new series 16. Starts in 2 days from when we record this. The other thing is we'd mentioned this, the podcast that Colbert, Kimmel, Fallon, Seth Meyers, and John Oliver are doing together. It's called Strike Force 5, and it is fucking hilarious. Because you have all 5 of them talking over each other. And because you have the 5 of them, somebody has always got something funny that they're just about to say. And I will say that so far, what turns into a running gag is the reason why Stephen Colbert owns a pair of pants that once belonged to a now dead Nicaraguan dictator. It's a real thing. It involves his mom, and it is fucking hilarious. There's lots of really funny stuff on there, but so far that is the best. There is also there's 6 episodes out so far. They're about an hour each. I think it's somewhere around the 2nd or 3rd episode. Colbert actually plugs all of their voices into an AI and makes a commercial using their voices. And you get to experience in real time people freaking out because of how AI is going to affect their jobs. I think John Oliver's quote was simply, "We're fucked." So there's a lot to like about the podcast. Strike Force 5. It's on Spotify. I don't know if it's like a Spotify exclusive or not, but
no, it's on all networks. Anywhere you
Okay.
get your podcast.
yeah, and they've got Ryan Reynolds is sponsoring them through Mint Mobile and Aviation Gin, and Casamigos, George Clooney Tequila Company is sponsoring them, and they got some really big sponsors. And they have Ryan Reynolds doing commercials for his stuff, which are as demented as you might expect. So I recommend that as well. So that, I think, brings us to the end of another episode of Weekend Justice. And as is the usual custom, as we sort of try to catch our breath after the last, 2 plus whatever, less than 3 hours of content creation.
I was about to say, this is a novella for us.
I know. We're doing basically the Disney Plus Marvel series timing. So it could go from 22 minutes to 34 minutes or anything in between. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's only fitting that at this point we stare at each other across the smoldering crater of the last almost 3 hours and simply say, pizza on a pie.
Pizza on a pie.
You almost got me to say it because you're going to go back in and edit it back in there. That's what you're trying to do.
Pizza.
You have the master files for this. All you would have to
do
is
final production. I don't have Final Cut, sir.
No, I know you don't. But
I'm going to strike. That's it. Bye.
You live in Florida. You're not allowed to go on strike. It's like reading there. You can't do it.
It's called fire.
So,
it's called getting fired.
Just so I want to explain this for the audience, is the joke that someone is editing this?
And who is that poor soul?
Unless I'm mistaken, I think Doc is still technically the showrunner, so he would have.
Yeah, that's true.
No, he's on strike because he would be a writer, so he's on strike.
Yeah,
but we could bribe him with alcohol, and he'd be off strike. Oh, spoilers!
Barrymore come kick his ass.
You saw what they did to Drew Barrymore. Do you really want them coming after us? Really?
No, we don't. So yes, all of this. I know you're used to Weekend Justice being a refined, polished, script-driven podcast, but for the moment, it is mostly seat of the pants. I know it's a big transition.
It's everything that the PBS Masterpiece podcasts isn't.
You are correct. That is actually 110% accurate. Oh my God. Okay. I guess that's it.
Okay.
We should run away.
Indeed.
Pie. Pizza pie.
Pie.
Thank you, Mr. T.
Pizza pie, yeah.
We have simplified this though into 2 words that can easily be said.
It's important at this point to easily say things.
Sean, what was that you just said?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
That pizza pie thing? Oh, okay. It's probably one of the
I think that pizza pie thing. I think if we work on that, I think we workshop that.
I think that is one of the finest DeSantis speeches I've heard in a long time.
Figure.
It's nice to hear that he's fighting for something.
Wow. Again, accurate.
Florida man puts pie on pizza. Literally pie. Not anything else. He puts an actual pie on a pizza. Thanks, John.
I said pineapple pie. I swear.
Trust me. Rob, you probably experienced this too, where you listen back through what you've recorded for the radio show and you say, why the fuck did I say that word? Why did I say that word? I don't remember saying that word. I have my notes right here. That word is not there.
That is the reason I don't do any of those things, because I just
don't
listen back to myself.
Listen, if I can listen back to myself with this
voice, I hate listening to myself.
But I don't want to listen to you either. So.
I love listening to myself.
Okay.
Oh God.
All right.
I'm
just saying, toughly, out of the three of us, you're the most likable. So and marketable.
Okay,
so.
that is true. That is actually that is also very true.
Oh God, what did we say about you?
Got a lot of authentic things being said here at the very end of the show.
What did that say about you two, though? Oh wow,
you're kind of like the nice.
Welcome to the healing
everyday
hour.
guy that everyone listening to the podcast likes, and I'm the guy they let out of the home, and Widge is the guy they let out of the asylum, and John just lives in Florida. So
yeah.
Who is a daddy? Who is it? Up! I have it right here. Hold on.
It's pizza.
Yeah, I'm the guy you have to break out of the asylum like Murdoch.
Yeah. But without the policy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Come on, Tuffley.
All right.
Okay.
I gotta go pee.
All the cool kids are doing it, Tuffley. Come on.
I know. I'm not cool.
I'm not getting in the middle of this. I am, however, watching from the sidelines and amused as fuck. All right.
All right. Good night.
All right, kids.
Bye. Thanks, guys.